하세요?
Natalie. .exe is getting remastered! If you're newer to my show and missed the references, .exe is my absolute favorite game of all time, but one overlooked in the West due to Band of America utterly screwing it over with regards to not advertising its existence when it was originally released and doing so in low quantities. So poorly over here, despite the continued prevalence of the .hack fanbase at the time and it being a massive success in Japan. Hell, I bought both Project Cross Zone games simply so I could play with the .hack characters included in them. And if they ever want to make a Project Cross Zone 3, I would like Kite back to being paired with Black Rose, while Haseo is partnered with Natalie in his X form. You will get my money simply from that. GU explores themes of loss, depression, listlessness, devotion, deception, and its story parallels several elements of internet and modern society that continues to be relevant through the last decade all the way to today. Its internal mystery is very well executed, its principal antagonist sympathetic, while its true villain is a truly unforgivable bastard you want to see taken down by how abusive he is and how he twists reality in the perception of others. Its combat system is one of the best action RPG systems I have ever seen executed in the entirety of the genre, and the game design and stylization is all fantastic, with me loving almost all of the characters and most received tangible arcs. And it is a game that entered my life at a time I was suicidally depressed and was fully instrumental in leading me to recover from that self-destructive mindset. I'm less rehashing the details of GU, as I already have a massive retrospective of the franchise already posted on Dailymotion on YouTube, though the videos on .hack's site and through Legend of the Twilight are absent from YouTube due to content ID issues and how bad I was at the reviewer gig during my early days. I should really look into remastering those at some point. But yeah, I am riding a massive high as the June 15th issue of Famitsu magazine released alongside an interview with Hiroshi Matsuyama and Namco Bandai's Daisuke Uchiyama the existence of .hack GU Last Recode, an HD remaster and re-release of the trilogy. Why they have chosen to do this with GU and not the original tetralogy is probably due to GU actually outselling the original games in Japan, the trio of them later having received bestseller re-releases of them to become one of CyberConnect's most successful products. And as someone who follows CyberConnect founder Hiroshi Matsuyama's Twitter account, there's rarely a time he posts anything that someone doesn't reply and ask about the possibility of a remaster of all of the games, or them going up on the PlayStation Network. They know how heavy a demand for that is, and that it will sell, and clearly are trying to do right by fans with the list of changes coming to the game. The majority Famitsu listed, that listing then translated by Siliconera and Gamatsu, are merely gameplay balance changes, the battle updates to Reminisce and Redemption being applied retroactively to the prior parts of the trilogy, improvements in skill leveling, and item collection capabilities, which were all previous criticisms of the game from their original release, alongside a few gameplay balance changes. Which also shows how long a memory CyberConnect has had on this to seek these improvements and not just shove it out the door. For those lacking the terminal disc from the special edition original release of Rebirth, those videos will also be included to help bridge the storylines of the series, and there's even teasing of some new content to the remaster, further expanding the story and the playable character base, and also make marriage events at the end of Redemption doable with everyone. So it's possible Natsume might actually end up having a character story in the game now after you recruit her, or those who lacked a conclusion to their story arc like Kun and some of the others had in Redemption may have vindication. I am very much excited for this, but pragmatism is of course coming in to poke holes in my enthusiasm. First off, what about the core trilogy that preceded it? While GU is their best game and is a story that stands fully on its own even among the multimedia works meant to coincide with it, especially because .hack Roots sucks and demeans the game trilogy by its association. And no, my stance has not changed on that. I've in fact found even worse things I didn't cover the first time. It is still, nonetheless, a sequel. This remaster will not have as great an impact without the game that preceded it being made widely available, like this remaster is going to make GU. Especially since the original GU gave you bonuses for having those games, like Black Rose's Lost Love Confession Letter. If it's excluded, it's something lost from the greater narrative of the ongoing franchise, and if it's included, a newer player of the series will have no idea of those people's importance in the lore, as the entry about them will not easily be available or will cost them utterly ridiculous prices to learn about, which will weaken the early game's impact since Rebirth's mystery was about what was with the player character that was a zombie version of the original game series protagonist. This can of course be rectified simply by placing those games, as I've suggested before, up on the PlayStation Network as the simplest solution to it all. However, that same Famitsu interview said there is also more .hack content in the works beyond this remaster, so it may be possible they're simultaneously working on a remaster of the core games, but chose to advertise this as, well, it is their best work. My second concern is with the nature of these new expansions to the story, potentially leading to an entirely different reading of the characters and their development. As I said when I reviewed .hack Link, Link's largest failure came from its character divergence and periodic assassination of the franchise's prior casts. The most offensive to me personally, of course, being what they ended up doing to Haseo to glorify Tokyo, and Tokyo's greater actions making wrong what once went right. Coupled with remembrance of the, well, more twisted version presented in the GU novels, any additional lore expansion could easily end up sundering the empathy and goodwill to the cast depending on how it is taken and where they choose to add on. Especially with the lines of, Haseo with an unfamiliar look appears, or, you will meet Haseo for the first time, that is stated at the end of the teaser information. That could just as easily be referring to Beast Form Haseo from the Trilogy movie being added as a potential alternative gameplay element. As with modding, you can swap around which character you can use in battle that wouldn't be hard for the original CyberConnect team to do. But my skepticism is rooted in knowing that taking several of the moments in the games out of context paints a heavily different picture than the narrative is trying to present. CyberConnect, as evidenced through their execution of the Naruto storyline in their Ninja Storm games, is usually fantastic about that. But the lingering memories of Link and my wish for more people to see GU the way I did has me hoping that what they're adding on won't take away from that prior vision. And if they're going to add more content, I'd honestly wish for a better epilogue to things than was given through .hack Returner, or more concise confirmation of this game's own personal variation of the shipping wars. Which brings us to 3. Banned out of America and the chances of this thing actually getting imported. I've made no secret my disdain for how the American branch of the company has entirely screwed over their own business model over the last decade. Be it from toys so low in quality, the Korean knockoffs actually have more value put into them than the ones made for Western consumers, to the closing of their anime import branch simply due to its mismanagement. As all the properties they once owned the licenses to now sell far better under new management. In fact, I just ordered the HD remaster of Outlaw Star from Funimation because my original release DVD set has reached the point of the disc being unplayable. And most relevantly, the utter lack of quality and garbage localization of many of their modern games with their grammatical errors, unnecessary dialogue revisions, and censorship even for teen and mature-related content. Removal of cultural elements which play a part in understanding the narrative, or actual core game content, which is then forcibly held hostage as paid DLC, and simply how badly their releases of games play in comparison to the originals. And that's just limited to stuff they actually bothered to import, which of things that could have made them money, they often have not. Plus, with how awfully they treated GU the last time with effectively no advertisement and marketing, to the point it wasn't even exported to the European Union or Australia back then, what are the chances they're even going to bother? And even if they do, what are the chances of them actually letting it keep its English dub, as they've more and more not bothered to do that with their releases? Hell, if they simply insert the previous import's English dub tracks, will they then get the prior cast back in to record any new dialogue from the new content? Or would they choose to just replace the actors wholesale whoever they can get that's cheapest, like they did with Digimon All-Stars and Digimon World Next Order? The underlying concern to all of that being that .hack GU's English cast was perfect. I don't want them recasting anyone, and don't want them just scrubbing out the voices for any new dialogue that may be and is supposed to be voiced. And moreover, I don't want them screwing up any translations. If need be, I'd rather just be left with the Japanese audio, as Takahiro Sakurai and Ayako Kawasumi played excellently off of each other from what I saw of them in those roles thanks to GU Trilogy, even though they are not the voices I hear Haseo and Natalie as. So yeah, more than anything else, I'm concerned Bandai of America is going to fuck this up for us Western fans, simply by the track record they have established. Because if you're going to do it, you should try and do it right. And worst comes to worse, CyberConnect and Bandai of Japan will get my money directly thanks to no region restrictions on the PS4. And I get the feeling the entirety of the still existing Western .hack fandom will likely do the same. Regardless, I'm still massively excited about this, to the point I even made this video in the first place, and come hell or high water, I will be getting a copy of this, even if it is just the Japanese version if Bandai of America foolishly chooses to skip it, and you will be seeing a new video in the future talking about all the changes made good and bad, which will be dependent on release dates for any and all versions of this. And honestly, this is the best possible thing to have come out of Square Enix stupidly firing CyberConnect from working on the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's almost as if they went and said, "You don't want us working on your remake of your most successful game? Well fine! We'll remaster our best game, with Crimson Verses, and new wedding events!" And I can't wait to see how that turns out as a result. And I said last year that .hack was dead. Thank you for proving me wrong!